You are now my darling.
Welcome back to another video. This is my review of Darling in the Franxx Part 2 from Manga Entertainment. So Season 1 Part 2, link in the description on where you can get this. But let's talk about this. But if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Yeah, let's just talk about this. Okay, so this follows on very, literally straight away, obviously. And oh my god, I was not expecting the end of this. It's a massive kind of 180, and not 180, but just literally what the hell? Like, you're in a car and you're driving somewhere, and then it's just like, oh, we're going to the shop, but actually no, we're going to go to Disneyland, but we're in the UK. We're going to go to Disneyland in Florida, and you drive across the ocean. It's that sort of thing. It's goddamn super crazy. At the very end, and I forgot to mention this in the one, 02 goes after Hiro and literally tries to kill him. They kind of merge memories together and they kind of see what happens, and she realizes, like, oh my god, like, she is the person that they met, blah blah blah. And it's so crazy because he almost dies. Everyone like bands together on this and they go for it. Like, they pretty much make sure that Hiro is safe, nowhere near 02. And you can see that 02 could easily beat them, and she does. Like, could beat all of them to go see her, but she kind of holds back. But I really love the way that the characters kind of come together and say, no, you are not going near him. And it's not just like one character, it's pretty much all of them. Now, it kind of does do more like flashback to where Hiro has given every single kid a name. So they get designated numbers, but he goes around and gives them all a name, etc, etc. And this is what kind of brings them all together and kind of like makes this sort of bond. What you see in this, and this is a little bit going back, is that Hiro, when he interacts with 02's memories and sees everything that's gone on, he sees her breaking out, like he saves her, that they wander off, and he ingests her blood because she's hurt her knee. So this could be the possibility of why Hiro can pilot with her, because he's got the DNA, even though that possibly doesn't work. But okay, cool, whatever. You do you, anime. You do you. Now we jump to the part where they all kind of team up together and they start kind of like saying no to 02. And it's really emotional. Like, they'll try everything to keep them apart. And even when it comes to them doing missions, they're like, no, we don't want her on our team. And she's like, how dare you? I want to see my darling. Like, you can't do this. And they're like, hell yeah, we can. Get the hell out. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So we find out 02 is being kind of like reassigned to other people, etc, etc, and that she'll slowly start going. Now, one thing is, I like the fact that they can't be apart. So 02 and Hiro have to be together. So when 02 goes to the hospital, and literally everyone kind of tries to stop her, but she kicks the crap out of everyone. Hiro then goes to the house and starts talking to an empty room. I do like the fact that in this, Hiro and 02 are literally together. Like, they can't be pulled apart, and everyone kind of sees this after a while, and that to me made me go, okay, yeah, cool, I can get behind this quite a lot. I do feel like there is a ton of emotion in this. In this entire scene, there is more emotion than we'll ever see, and I generally kind of really like that. The way that the team does stick up, and that they don't want anything to happen to Hiro because they all love him effectively, and that is absolutely fine. One of the scenes that really gets me, and it annoyed me so much, is that you can see that 02 and Hiro love each other, and everyone knows this, and Ichigo doesn't let Hiro go a lot. One thing that really, I was thinking back, it was in the other one, but no, Ichigo just keeps like trying it on, and I generally kind of thought, can we like not? Like, you know that they love each other and they're going to do it. So when 02 leaves, because she's kind of had enough, she's not spoken to Hiro that much, because he's called her a monster because she literally attacked everything, and he didn't mean it, because in the previous one she said that he was just fodder to her, and that's a whole big thing that carries on, that you see later on. So when like the Calaxosaurs attack the flotation plants or whatever it is, the big buildings, this really gets the part where she doesn't care. Like, it looks like she can pilot Starlitzia on her own, but she literally just goes for everything, because if she kills loads of Calaxosaurs, she feels like she'll become human, and thus therefore that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. But I feel like if you were to end the anime and have season 2, would be at the point where Hero gets into Starlitzia, they combine together, they fall in love, they turn around and say stuff, and they're like, oh, I didn't really mean this, and now we're even, blah blah blah, and then Starlitzia goes red, and that she just is able to defeat everyone. Now, one of my favorite fight scenes is when you've got Ichigo, and she just literally goes for 0-2 in the kind of Franxx, and she's like going for it full on. Like, I wanted to see more fight. Like, this entire fight scene was great because it felt like there was so much pent up anger that this would have been perfect, and it would have just worked so well if they carried on fighting for, I don't know, maybe a minute, 2 minutes longer, and then it was like, now you can go and see her Hero. But I really just wanted to see more of that. One thing that does irritate me, and you see this a lot more, is it's just Hero and 0-2 just screaming out, darling, 0-2, I love you, darling, darling. And I'm like, God damn it. Could we not just have other things like, we can do this together, with the power of friendship, blah, blah, or love or whatever. It just felt so repetitive, and you see it happen so much in this one alone, more than the first part of this. The main part now is that it's a bit of time after this whole massive battle, and the kids are pretty much now on their own. That you don't see. So now, like, the kids have saved the city, everyone's really happy, but they get treated like shit. And it annoys me. It really fucking annoys me. Because the adults are just basically treating them like crap, and there's nothing. So food is dropped off, but there's no maintenance. There's no... If anything goes bad, the kids have to fix it themselves. And I felt like this was a really bad thing, because it felt like they've been given everything, and rather than slowly just kind of weaning them off it, it was boom, done. That's it. Completely cut off. And you can see that everything is degrading, and things aren't going well, and they have to kind of figure it out. So they learn basic survival skills, which I can understand because it does come up much later, but it feels like this was all of a sudden like, oh, you've saved the city, you've saved us, we don't give a crap about you anymore, bye! And it just really, really irritates me a lot. I feel like this is filler for most of it, because they had to animate other parts of the story. Yeah, I feel like that was the only thing for it. They had a few episodes spare, so they filled it in with filler for the other parts of the story. 0-2's personality has completely changed, and I don't know if that's due to Hero or the animators and writers were like, hey, we just really want to change it for no reason. From this fun, really loving person that would go against anyone, to the part where she's everyone's best friend now, and everyone just doesn't question her personality change whatsoever. You have this entire thing with Koriko and Mitsuru, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, they just sleep together. That's pretty much it. They just fuck, and then they realize that they can have a baby, but because they've still got the reproductive parts, that's it. So there's a whole story about that, how like she's kept the book from the city. The Nines have kind of moved in after they come along and be like, hey, guess what, we're going to live here now. Papa hasn't forgotten you. It's just he's been busy. It's like, no, come on, we know this. Just with this does kind of annoy me, because it feels like they had to add this in. Like, oopsie, we forgot the kids. So we've got to put it in. So they find the book. They kind of question it. Kokomuro and Mitsuru just literally just get married, and they can't allow that because they can't. And it's so weird, because you feel like they could have been married and like nothing would have changed, but then they have to wipe the memories, so they do nothing. And this is one thing, is like, if you're going to wipe the memories, why don't take off the rings? So they give each other rings, why not take the rings off? It just doesn't make sense, and I feel like they just ran with this and were like, I don't give a crap. Oh, so now they leave the house, they move into this place with the other parasites, and it's this bigger place. The adults go through a thing where one of them, Nana, has to be kind of like moved away and can't interact with the kids, and they get a new one. I'm like, what? Where did this come from? Then you have other stories that you find out about the doctor, and that was kind of really interesting, how you see the civilization change. So the Papa is now called the Verm. They come in, and dear God, it just changes everything. So now we've got something which is called magma, which is like lava, which basically collects soul blood that gets injected into humans. They lose the power to reproduce and stuff like that, but they last forever. So that's the thing. And then the Galactosaurs come out, and then we kind of figure out that they need monsters to do it, but they can't use adults because they don't have the reproductive organs anymore. You can see where this is going. It's such a weird thing. You get a bit like with the backstory with the Doctor, who's called Werner Franxx. So that's where Franxx come from. He marries Karina Misla, which then they figure out Melissa dies, and this causes the Doctor to go off on one and change things, and then it kind of like goes on. We see him. He meets like the Galactosaur princess, which is codenamed 001. And dear God, like, he falls in love with her straight away. He like lets her damage him completely, rips off the arm. But he grabs some of her hair, so he's able to make clones and stuff like that. Oh, it just goes weird. I can see now why literally fans are like going, what the hell, and complaining, because when I got to this part I was like, what the hell's going on here? The Verm now give everyone technology so they can mine things, and it goes on and on for a while. The cities, like, they move away from it. The other older cities now start to degrade, so there's a whole world out there, and everyone just seems to have been in these like domes for a while. So disc 2 is where it gets super like, what the hell am I watching right now? After a while, Verm or Papa leaves. There's a whole massive battle going on, and they need to get to this, like, the core of this place, this building that they need to kind of go through. And Stalicia is about to fight, but then I think shuts down. So 02 gets like booted out of Stalicia. So 01 goes in to control it. It then turns into a different version. It goes to this middle of this place, activates Stalicia Agarith, and is a massive Arceus Pokemon basically. And the Verm have kind of put a backdoor trigger into this, so it therefore shuts off. It's going to blow up and take out the planet with it. And everyone's like, oh my god, who do they fight for? The Nines have all gone crazy because Papa is leaving and stuff like that. But in the end, like, 02 gets there with the help from the Doctor and this giant snake thing. Goes all the way to it. She confesses more of a love to Hero. 01 sees all of this, gives her the last part of her power to kind of break free. Stalicia Agarith is like amazingly superly powerful and takes out most of the fleet. All the Verm start leaving. Notice how I'm doing this. All of them leave, and then I think like this is where you see Hero and like 02 combine, something like that. Their hearts are now one. It tries to stop the Verm, but it doesn't work. In the end, Stalicia goes off into space, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, this was the perfect part if you wanted part 2 much later on, to end it here and go, hey, the Verm are going to be back later on. What? They're going to be back later on. Fuck it. But no, then it goes into space. 02 has been completely like, what? Like, her consciousness is gone and everyone doesn't know. Her body is still there, receptive to things. But then it switches to the point where now the kids have got to learn how to farm. Which is like, okay, I can see that coming up. But then they decide to go into space. Just literally, it gets to you where you're like, what the hell's going on? I can't, like, you're like, I don't know what is going on in this. And this is me just reading off the notes that I'm going off track. It gets to the part where everyone figures out what's going on. And Hero's like, oh, 01's consciousness is inside Stalicia still, and they've got to get to it. They go to space. And then obviously, like, they start fighting. All the Nines that need maintenance and not getting it, they decide to help, and the whole thing starts again. So rather than going for Galactosaurs, they're going for the Verm. And then when you do get Hero and 01 meeting up, they kind of get together again. Stalicia just turns into this giant version of 02. And they say that you have to go through a portal. Like, no one can follow them because it's only those two that can do it. So you kind of think that with how giant like 02 is, that you could easily go, like she'd have like other decks so people could be together and stuff like that. It's just so weird. It just doesn't make sense. So apparently there's a 2-year gap. Everyone on Earth is living their life. Like, they're figuring out stuff. And I like this because this should have been the end where 02 and Hero go back to Earth and they stay on Earth and then they start rebuilding. That would have been perfect. I would have loved that ending. But in fact, it just gets into this thing where Hero doesn't sleep now because he's part of 02 and he falls asleep in one part, which doesn't make sense. And it just gets really frustrating. You get more out of this, of the ending part, where the kids are all grown up. They've got families, they've moved on, they've built a new civilization. This is really cool. This is what I wanted to see. But the part with Hero and 02 is there's nothing there. It is anticlimactic. It's like, you know, they're the only ones who die. Everyone lives their lives, they have kids. But then at the very end of this, and I hate to spoil it, but dear God, Hero and 02 get reborn as humans later on and they meet. And it's not like they will they, won't they? It's like you see the kid version of Hero, the reincarnated one, reading the same book that has gone on, because everyone's redone this book, you know, kept the same thing, they've redone it, and it just doesn't make sense. It's just like crazy. And then it's like, who are you? And that's it. It just ends. And I'm like, what? Oh, this is just a meh ending. Meh, I say. So yeah, it just, to me, this entire anime, like the animation's fine. It's on point. The sound is on point. The characters are on point until a certain part. I feel like this entire like series isn't worth it in a way. Like, it gets good up to a certain point until they go to space, where they could have spent ages maybe still battling some of the like verm that are still on Earth, or some new threat that comes up for season 2. It's such a goddamn missed opportunity. So yeah, would I recommend this? Yes, because the first part is really interesting. You need this part to kind of figure out what's going on. But when it gets to a part at the end, no. Just no. I just got frustrated in this one. I rewatched it to write this review, and I was like, and it's that sort of thing that makes me go, I can't be bothered with this right now. Like, I still, thinking back, it just blows my mind on how they dropped the ball. Like, they didn't know how to go with the writing. It was just meh. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Would I get this? Yes. Link's going to be down in the description where you can probably find it. It's probably on Funimation as well. So I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on Darling in the Franxx? Did you like it? Did you not? Is it a case where you're like, hell yeah, I would watch this to the end of time. It's my favorite. If it is, cool. More power to you. Is this one of my favorite animes? It's a good one. I'm going to say I love part of it and it was a great thing, but it's not on the top 10. It's not on the top 10 that I know of. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think about all this. Do you enjoy it? Do you not? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you like this sort of content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.